I do, nothing. Hi everyone, Mike here from Bikes by Mike with another cycling related video. Today I'll talk to you about my favorite cycling related weather app, Epic Ride Weather. If you've never heard of this app, watch this video to see one of its unique features that you won't find anywhere else. Okay, let's get to it. In today's video, I'll start off by talking a bit about weather apps in general, where they are lacking and why I have yet to find one single weather app that does it all. Next, I'll demo Epic Ride Weather app by using it to plan a local fat biking ride. I'll then compare it to the old way I went about pulling weather forecasts for my rides, which is probably the way you're doing it now. And lastly, I'll wrap this up with my rating and final thoughts of this great app. Why'd I say great app? Now you know what kind of review I'm going to give it. I've tried many different weather apps over the years, but until I tried Epic Ride Weather, none of them worked all that well for cycling. But I do use other weather apps, so let me first talk to you about those, specifically why I use multiple weather apps, and what types of situations each is best suited for. If you've ever tried to search the App Store for a smartphone weather app, it can be a daunting task as there's just so many to choose from. Not only are there hundreds to choose from, are there really hundreds? Why did I say that? It's just like a saying. Oh, there are hundreds of weather apps. But it's even harder to shortlist the good ones, as many of them are rated highly and many are also free. Ideally, I'd like just one weather app that does it all. Unfortunately, I have yet to find just one. Yes, you can try using just one, but it's unlikely to give you all the weather data you need for wherever you are and whatever you're doing. I found that most weather apps fall into one of three silos. They either provide good, accurate forecasts locally at home, or they provide accurate forecasts for the geographic area I'm traveling to, or they are optimized for outdoor activities like cycling and hiking. For home use, I simply want an app that provides the most reliable weather forecast for my area, with both long-range, daily, and hourly forecasts. For that, I use the Weather Network app, which is the most common app in Canada. But for travel, I don't find it's quite as accurate as some other weather apps. If traveling to Europe, for example, I find that Weather Underground provides more accurate forecasts, particularly for smaller towns, remote areas, and locations at altitude. So for general travel use, I use Weather Underground, also known as Wonderground. But where both these apps fall short is in providing the specific type of weather data I want to see when heading out for a ride or a hike. For outdoor activities where I'll be moving around a lot, I want to know what type of weather I'll have at every point during my ride or hike. Epic Weather Ride is the only app I found that will give me a personalized weather forecast that considers my speed and location to tell me precisely what the weather will be like for the duration of my ride. So Epic Ride Weather is available for use on both Android and iOS smartphones. I have an iPhone, so I use the iOS version. Unfortunately, it is not free and is available as a subscription service only. You can't just pay a one-time fee. I really don't like subscription-based plans, but at least their rates aren't too expensive. $2.99 per month Canadian or $14.99 for a one-year plan. Using the app is simple. Once you've downloaded it onto your phone, launch the app and it'll immediately take you to this screen. And here you see how it differs from almost every other weather app out there. To be able to get the precise weather forecast you're looking for, you need to feed it three pieces of information: your route, your start time, and your estimated average speed. So the first thing you need to do is tell it your route. You compare with the most common route planners like Strava, Ride with GPS, Komoot, and Garmin, as well as many others. Since all of my cycling and hiking routes are stored in Strava, that's what I'll select. I can choose my route based on either a past activity, one of my created routes, or a segment. In this case, I'm planning a fat biking ride at Palgrave Conservation Area, so I choose the 20-kilometer mountain bike loop I've already planned out. I then choose my starting date and time and my estimated average speed. Click on the Forecast Route button and it'll bring up a number of weather metrics like temperature, precipitation, wind speed and direction, daylight, the UV index, and humidity level. All useful stuff to prep for a ride. For winter fat biking, the most important consideration is usually the temperature and the amount of forecasted snow. I can tell right away that the temps aren't cooperating. The temperature is forecasted to be fine when I roll out, but then I'm running into melting conditions starting mid-ride. So that doesn't work. But if I change my rollout time to a bit earlier, I should be fine. Yep, I'm clear to go as I'll have below freezing temperatures for my entire ride. I also want to make sure there'll be enough daylight at the start of my ride, which the app says there will be. It's easy to see how this app can help any cyclist properly prepare for a ride, especially if you're riding in remote areas or when covering long distances with lots of change in elevation. It's on those rides that most other weather apps just don't cut it. I'll use my Weather Underground app as an example, but the limitations with it apply to most other apps I've tried. Let's take the famous Alto de Letras climb in Colombia. The most beautiful, longest, and nastiest climb in the world, and my personal pick for the very best bucket list climb in the world. No, I haven't ridden it yet, but the more I talk about it, the more likely I'll end up in Colombia. Maybe. It starts off in the town of Mariquita and finishes at the top of Alto de Letras. The one-way distance is 78 kilometers, gaining 3,727 meters in elevation, with an average grade of 4%. With that kind of elevation gain, you know you need to plan for a variety of temperature extremes. You simply should not head out with an accurate weather forecast for the entirety of your route. You know that with the climb having this much vertical gain, there will be a huge difference in temperature between the peak and the valley. As a general rule, every 1,000 meters of elevation gain is associated with a 6.5 degrees Celsius drop in temperature. That means that for this ride, there'd be about a 24-degree difference between the bottom and the top of the climb. But that's just an estimate, not a weather forecast. So I need to find precise weather data. And this is pretty much useless, so we won't use that. Let's start with the forecast for Mariquita. It's our starting point and the largest town along the route, so it should be the easiest forecast to get. I look at a forecast for a 9 o'clock rollout time tomorrow morning. 27 degrees Celsius, 0 rain, 7 kilometer per hour winds from the north-northeast. Okay, I'll make a note of that. Let's pick the next reasonable sized town along the route. Fresno. Great, I should be able to get a forecast for that town, but I need to know when I'll arrive there. So I'll roll out at 9 o'clock. Fresno is about 12 kilometers into the ride. It's all climbing. If I average 16 kilometers per hour, I should get there easily by 10 o'clock with a couple of stops. 21 degrees Celsius, no rain, 8 kilometers per hour winds from the northeast. Make a note of that. Now it gets tricky as the towns along the way to the summit are really small. Let's try Padua, 39 kilometers in. Nope, can't find it. The app has Ula, but that's 400 kilometers south of where I want to go, so that's no good. And there's no other towns along the way. I really need to know the temperature at the summit. Let's see if I can get a forecast for it. Letras. Nope, nothing there. Maybe Alto de Letras. Nope, still nothing. So there you go. Using my old technique with a typical weather app, I have a pretty good idea of what the weather will be like early into the ride, but no idea for the rest of it, including the most important parts as I start to gain big altitude. And that's just not good enough. You can't head out for an epic ride without knowing how you need to dress and stay warm. That's just too risky. So how do I rate epic ride weather? I give it a score of 9 out of 10. As far as I can tell, no other weather app provides this level of precision for riders and hikers. And because of that, it's the only weather app I now use for cycling. It's brilliant. But there are 2 reasons I haven't given it a perfect score. First, I don't like subscription-based fees, especially for relatively simple smartphone apps. I'd be okay paying a modest one-time fee, but I don't think this app does enough to justify paying a fee for life, even if it's only $14.99 per year. Second, I like the option added to simply get a weather forecast for a particular town or location, like how every other weather app works. This would be helpful if I'm planning a ride but don't have a route to load into the app. It's a simple feature that I think should be easy to add, as pretty much every other app does it. So that is pretty much it for my demo and review of the Epic Ride Weather app. Let me know in the comments section what you think, and if there's another weather app out there that is better for those heading out in the great outdoors. That's all I got for today, folks. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you're not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe, as it allows me to produce more content for all of you. See you next time. Happy rolling.